Hello there and welcome to the Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. I'm your host, Vidas Pinkevičius. Welcome to Secrets of Organ Playing podcast number 77. Today is Sunday, January 15th, 2017. And today's guest is Diego Innocenzi from Geneva, Switzerland. Diego is the resident organist of the Victoria Hall as well as of the temples of Saint-Gervais in Geneva and Vandœuvres. He also teaches the organ at the Conservatoire of Musique in Geneva. Born in Argentina in 1971, Diego Innocenzi began his musical studies in Buenos Aires, where he graduated in piano and was the organist of the Cavaillé-Coll organ of the Cathedral of San Isidro, his hometown. He continued his studies at the Conservatoire in Geneva with Lionel Rogg's class, where he won a first prize for virtuosity in 1999, and later with Marie-Claire Alain in Paris. Afterwards, he entered the choral direction class led by Michel Corboz at the Conservatoire of Musique in Geneva, where he obtained his choirmaster's diploma in 2003. Diego, for many years, has been conducting research on the historical interpretation of sacred music and organ repertoire of the 19th and 20th century, which has led him to give lectures and master classes in Europe and the United States of America. These investigations resulted in several recordings of mostly unpublished works for the label Aeolus, complete vocal works with organ by César Franck in 2 volumes in collaboration with Les Solistes de Lyon Bernard Tetou, a double album of unpublished works for organ by Edouard Baptiste, chamber music with organ by Théodore Dubois. In order to renew the form of organ in sacred music concerts, Diego organized a fall festival in Vandœuvres devoted to chamber music with organ, cycles of choral services and cantata services, organ marathons during the musical fest in Geneva, a psalms festival in the context of Calvin 09, and several shows combining contemporary dance, video projector and organ. Diego Innocenzi has performed worldwide in Europe, the United States of America, Latin America and Russia. Diego is currently the artistic director of the Chamonix Festival and he is the musical programmer of the Centro Cultural Nestor Kirchner's organ in Buenos Aires in Argentina. So today Diego is sharing his insights about the organ culture in Buenos Aires and in the whole of Argentina. It's a very fascinating conversation, I hope, because you will discover some hidden treasures and facts about this forgotten and recently rediscovered organ landscape. And you will also find out a few more ways how to promote organ culture in your country perhaps, which is in need of maybe more restorations, more interest from the government or the church or the public. Let's go to the show. Thank you so much, Diego, for joining this conversation. You are such an amazing talent in organ world, organizing organ concert, playing virtuoso organ marathons, and doing all kinds of cultural activities in Geneva and in other parts of Switzerland and also in Argentina, right? So we will be talking about that in this half an hour for sure, because our listeners would like to get to know more about you and to find out more about your work and what goes behind the scenes. So thank you so much and welcome to the show, Diego.
Thank you, Vidas.
Great. Our listeners always are eager to know how you first fell in love with the organ. Do you remember the story in your probably childhood when somebody introduced you the organ? Can you share us the first love of the organ story?
My first love with the organ was when I was adolescent, teenagers. I think I was 16 or no, 14 years. And my first piano teacher, on the end of the lesson, he told me, listen this one record. And was a vinyl of Bach et auf.
Yes.
My first contact with the organ was Bach et auf.
Bach et auf.
And I was shocked with the sound of the organ. And the next lesson, and the next lesson, and the next lesson, I asked, how could you pass me the recording of Bach? And I played the harmonium in the church when I was and started play it alone. My sister-in-law helped me with the notes for read music, but for me the church music was a passion when I was really child. And at 11, I play in the church all the cult, because I am Protestant. I played the cult, the service alone. 11, accompanying the choir, and I play the chorals. But no music for the organ, just the music for the service. So I started piano, and when I listened to the organ, for me it was a revelation. And I start to search the concert organ in the town. And at this moment in Buenos Aires was 2 cycles from organ recitals. Mm-hmm. The Festival Permanente de Conciertos de Órgano, Festival Permanente de Órgano y Ciclo de Concierto de Órgano en los barrios. This was a permanent festival because the time. But the other cycle was very interesting because was the organ recitals on the town, on different towns, on boroughs, on the capital. And sometimes was a 4 or 5 organ recitals in the weekend. But do you imagine 5 organ recitals at the same time? And people came in for
I see.
Recital. Was very, very interesting because I listened the great organist around the world came to Buenos Aires, and the organist in Buenos Aires. And when I was 16 years old, I entered for the first time in the cathedral of my town, in San Isidro. San Isidro is 20 kilometers from the Buenos Aires center. It's in the countryside. And when I entered in the cathedral, I was shocked because there was an organ in the cathedral.
Right.
So I 2 weeks after, I went with my mother for speak with the priest. And the priest said me, okay, you can play the organ. But I never never knew which organ was, and I understand quickly the sound. The sound, the organ for me was very beautiful, and I feel I say me this organ is very interesting, it's important, and when I understand it was American Cavaillé-Coll.
Cavaillé-Coll. So
yes, Cavaillé-Coll. In Buenos Aires we have 13. In the country, I think it's 30 Cavaillé-Coll. Because we don't know exactly, because there are some Cavaillé-Coll was in the countryside, in the
So you're
they are
saying,
very far from Buenos Aires.
so Diego,
But
you're saying that you have in Argentina about 30 organs built by Aristide Cavaillé-Coll?
no Aristide Cavaillé-Coll.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's just one Aristide Cavaillé-Coll.
Mm-hmm.
The other organ was built by Mutin.
Okay.
But the problem is a lot of organs are destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think it's 20, perhaps. We need to make faire un recensement. I don't know in English. Sorry for my little English.
That's okay.
We need to make inventaire. We need to count the different organs,
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
there are sometimes the organ was destroyed with a fire.
Mm-hmm.
There are two big Cavaillé-Coll destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
There are a big Cavaillé-Coll Mutin, a very, very nice organ. During 40 years, it's no buzzing, no sounds. So there are Cavaillé-Colls, there are pipes, there are the case, the buffet with the prospect, but no pipes inside. We need a little work.
It's very interesting, Diego, because in parts like yours in Argentina, in other parts of South America, right, in even other continents besides North America and Europe, there is an incredible treasure of organ instruments and organ repertoire to be found, but not yet discovered, right? And even some parts of Europe, which was formerly in Soviet Union, right? Some eastern part of Europe. Now the researchers, organologists, and organ music lovers discovering amazing instruments and amazing musical treasures from various periods still intact, because there was no money to restore or damage them, you know. So what I'm curious about, how does organ landscape in Argentina look like? You mentioned two of the great French organ builders, Mutin and Cavaillé-Coll, building organs there. Is it a French-oriented organ culture, or maybe Spanish like in Mexico, or maybe English like in other parts? You know, can you tell us a little bit of that?
The situation in Argentina is very, very interesting. So, unfortunately, the Spanish organ or the colonial organ are destroyed. We have the history of the organ in Argentina. It's very interesting. The instruments arrived for the north of the country from Potosi, from Peru, donc of the north of the America, South America. The first organ arrived in 1550, and was in the Cathedral of Santiago del Estero. It's of the center of the country, center north of the country. And I think in the recent, I think was 16 or 20 organs in the colonial era.
I see.
In Buenos Aires was a lot of organs, but all organs are destroyed.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's different to Peru or Bolivia or Mexico. There are just one, the rest of one positive organ in Susques and Jujuy of the north, in the frontier and the near to Bolivia. Bolivia.
Right.
There are a rest, just a little parts of the positive. And there are two new arrivals, the organs, on the middle of the 19th century, 18th century. There are a French current and with Louis Jobin. Louis Jobin installed different organs, but the big organ, all are destroyed.
I see.
But there are one little organ in the Cathedral of Buenos Aires. Now it's installed on the choir of the cathedral. That is very beautiful, very interesting. I think it's on the end of the beginning of the 80s. I think it's 1808 to 1809, right. 1810.
And what kind of style is that organ built? Is it?
It's very interesting because the organ was modified, and on the last restoring, but it's restoring the discover they are of the lay for the trumpet en chamade.
Okay.
So. Perhaps was on the Spanish tradition,
right?
But was built for a French organ building.
Yes.
So they are the both culture together.
I see.
On the French and Spanish.
That's the 19th century, right? 19th century.
Yeah. But in 19th century. Was very interesting because the country was I don't know the name is no people live there. So the government called the Europeans from come to Argentina because the country was wide. So arrived at this moment, I think it's 1880, arrived a lot of organs in Argentina, and arrived the Italian organ building, and German. No, the biggest organ, the biggest organs are the not the biggest. But the most organs are German, okay. German organs. But at the same time, there are a lot of Italian organs.
Okay.
We have Serassi, Locatelli, and in the countryside, enter Argentina, there are still again, and these instruments, Italian instruments, very interesting. Sometimes it's mechanic. On the end of the 19th, started the pneumatic organs, but on the beginning was all organ mechanic. We have Serassi, 1868. It's very interesting with campanelli, the Glocken, very, very, very fantastic organs. So. At the same time, the community, foreign community, arrived in country. So they arrive in English organ.
Okay.
So we have at the same time the English tradition, mechanic, with there are a beautiful Forster and Andrews in the Methodist Church. It's 1970. In the cathedral, there was a Walker with Caquelade, 3 keyboards with Fisarmonica. It's fantastic organ. So we have Italian, German, and English. We have in the Danish organ in the church, Danish church. So, and the French organ arrived with the Argentina was on the high with a very, very nice situation, economic situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's on the beginning of the 19th century, the 20th century.
20th century. So fantastic. Like in very few countries, you can see this multicultural organ landscape in one country, right? You have French influence, you have Spanish influence, you have Italian, German, right? And even English. 5 different organ traditions are represented into one. So, Diego, I'm very interested. What kind of music was played on on those kinds of instruments that day?
Yeah, it all was romantic tradition.
Romantic.
It's very interesting because in the 20th or 30, in Buenos Aires, was I think 5 theater organs, and there are a Belgium organist. He played in this instrument. Unfortunately, the organist didn't write for the organ.
I see.
So we have the Argentinian music for organ music on the middle of the 20s. On the beginning, they aren't music. I think all music was imported.
Imported, okay.
Yes, imported. Yes.
Right.
A lot of Italian music because the Kapellmeister was Italian. So the musician came from Italy.
Amazing. So you have this amazing multicultural organ landscape in Argentina, and what's the situation now? Is it are many organs restored, or are they in need of good quality restoration today? Are they playable? Is the church willing to tolerate organists and organ music, or they view organs and with suspicion, sometimes? But how it's today?
The situation is, for me, is very bad because the problem was the church. A lot of organ was in the church. I wrote an article from Organ Nouvelle, magazine from the organ in France.
Right.
So I think in the whole of the country there are 250 organs, but in Paris there are 300 organs.
Right.
Just in Paris.
Just in
Okay,
Paris.
imagine for a country, it's like to Europe. I think it's 5,000 kilometers the north of the south on the country.
Yes.
Is the organs are in the bad situations. A lot of organs are mute, no sound.
No sound.
A lot of organs are modified. I was expert for a new organ in the new concert hall in Buenos Aires. It's an Kleist organ.
Yes.
56 stops, with 2 consoles, and is the modernest organ in America, in South America. It's very nice instrument with the technology, the new technology. And for people it was a shock because nobody listen a organ really tuning. Tuning all the organ, because sometimes it's just the reed and the rest of the organ is kaput. So the situation is very complicated.
Yeah.
In the conservatory, there are just 3 students.
Yes.
So imagine in a capital with 15 or 14 millions of people, there are just 3 students in one conservatory. There are 2 classes.
Yes.
In 2 conservatories different. And one is 3 and other is 4 students. So to have 7 students in a capital with 40 million is a disaster.
Right,
because
right.
The most organists are amateur.
Yes, yes.
No professional. And this is terrible because for the conservatory, for control of the organ building, for playing the good music. So people are every time very, very interesting for the organ music. But you need a lot of things for to have a really action.
I see. I have a question. Can I ask you, Diego? It's you mentioned organ public, right? Who are still interested in hearing organ music, right? Organists are not very interested in playing, right? And there are only four students, right, in Buenos Aires, right?
But I organized a master class the last year, and I was surprised because there was 60 inscriptions. 60.
60.
So,
60 people wanted to participate, right?
Came from listen the organ and for the master class. No, all people play the organ, but there was a lot of pianists on the organ. So I am working with the government, with the Centro Cultural Kirchner.
Yeah.
Where I installed the new organ, made a master class every year for bring people to the organ.
Exactly.
That's a job very, very
difficult. Yeah.
Big. I am living in Geneva,
right.
So I could have made 2 or 3 travels. But I am teacher here in Geneva, so I have a lot of concerts around the world. So we could go to Argentina every time. But I think the new generation could change. But the problem are the organ, the instruments. They aren't new instruments, and the organ building are formed. Didn't have a diploma from an institution, serious institution. So people around the organ restore the organ with plastics, with materials no good for the organs. So this is a problem. I take pictures with a restoration of an organ, but it's a disaster. So we need change.
How long, Diego, are you staying in Buenos Aires when you are traveling there? For a week or 2?
Sometimes it's 3 days.
3 days, right? You know what?
2 weeks.
Right.
It's very complicated.
I have an idea. Sometimes we in Lithuania also are frustrated with the lack of interest from the church, with the organs, and our instruments also are in need of quality restorations many times. And in the country, in provinces, there are not too many professional musicians, right? But there is still good interest in organ music from general audience. So what we do there is to organize organ demonstrations. Sometimes we meet with school teachers and ask them to bring their children into the church. And
but I think for me this is the future for the organ. I think in Buenos Aires we have 2 organs. In 3 organs, no in the church. In the Colegio Nacional.
Yes.
It's the National College. We have a four keyboards. I think it's 50 stops. But it is a catastrophic situation, the organ. So this is no tuning, it's no full. So we have the organ, but the organ needs restoration for people who love this organ, because people say, this is interesting, but it's no in function. So we have another organ in an institution from people now could see. This is a Canadian instrument, very nice, but I played this organ 20 years before, but now it's finished, it's kaput. So we need the government are interested from the restoration, the organ, because the restoration are very expensive.
Yeah.
In the cathedral, in my cathedral in San Isidro, the organ, the cathedral was restored, beautiful. You could imagine it's like to Europe. It's very nice, but people didn't protect the organ. So painters, water, all are in the organ.
Yes.
So I spent a lot of time with the priest for said, okay, we can restore the organ. We can make concerts and speak with people, embassy for take money for the restoration. But after the organ need to play.
Yes.
Because one time the organ restored, you need play the organ. Okay, but just for the concerts. Because for the service, for the mass, we prefer the guitars.
I see.
And for wedding, we have a very good CD recording and the sound system. So, if you have the organ restored, but we don't have work for the organist, it's terrible. So the problem in the church was the second concile, Vatican Council. Because Argentina, the music on the church was several attacked. So people prefer guitars, no organ music.
Right.
But in the capital, in the capital, Buenos Aires capital, there are many churches with the organ played every day.
Yes.
So it is very complex, the situation.
I see. So I just looked at the map of our listeners in the world from 89 countries, Diego, and it turns out we have 4 subscribers who are in Argentina, and these people might listen to our conversation, right? And in other places in the world, where organ culture is complicated, like in Brazil, for example, right? Or in Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, even let's say Zimbabwe also has some beautiful organs, but not too many of them are restored, right? There is no interest and economic power. But sometimes a few people who are interested in that, they can get together and start to create a little movement, like organ demonstrations here and there, maybe one instrument, a little bit. And little by little, what happens, is this small wave begins to ripple throughout the country. And not overnight, not in 5 years, but in 10 years, you might have some effect. Right.
Yes. In Argentina, it was very interesting the work of Adelma Gomez, because Adelma Gomez, she's died 3 years ago.
Yes.
Made renouveau in French, on dit renouveau, renewal, a movement, and the new organist started with very interesting organist, because my former teacher played a lot of, and played in the complete work from Bach, Buxtehude, Mendelssohn. He played a lot. He's teaching in the conservatory. But sometimes people are depressed because the political situation is not favorable for make music, for bring up. So we are a lot of musicians, professional musicians outside the country. Because if I return to my country, I don't have work because there aren't a class of organ class, or I can work to the school, in the high school. I finished the music because it's terrible. So I could make music because I have the different work with the schedules, free schedules. We can choose my time for practice. So, but I think perhaps we can make a new renewal the organ music.
Right, because the technology today let us to connect with people, and they can connect with one another, you see, and it's no longer one person effort, it's a many people effort.
I was surprised in Mendoza. It's a 1,800 kilometers from Buenos Aires. It's near the Cordillera de los Andes. There are 8 people in the organ class, and people are very motivated to play organ. But in the town, there are just one organ.
I see.
Yes, it's one organ pneumatic. So when people finish the conservatory, what made? Played in the electronic organ.
Yes, it's difficult, to imagine a future without a pipe organ, right? It's you know what happened in a place where in Lithuania a few years ago, 3 years ago, we visited a village with wooden church, old romantic instrument, very bad condition, and made as best as we could an organ demonstration called Meet the King of Instruments. We invited entire class of school children, music teacher, and the entire parish, who wanted to join us. And we improvised and told the story about the organ, how it functions. Sometimes they could even touch and play the instrument with their hands and feet. That was really fantastic experience for them. You know what I found out a few weeks ago, Diego? That they have this, I just finishing. They have restored their instrument. They have this, and I would like to think that our little effort in doing this demonstration was, making a part of that too. So you never know how far your influences will reach, Diego.
Here, for example, in Geneva. Every year, I made a stage for children. I think it's 8 and 10 years old.
Yes,
very little children. In 2 times. The first time, the children came from the church. We speak about the organ. We open all the doors of the organ. We played in the church. There are 2 organs. We can take the pipes. I have a lot of old pipes, and children are really touch the organ. And after the children came from at the Victoria Hall for a concert.
Yes.
Play the concert with the big screen, so children could see the organist, and the children invite another class, and the children explain about the organ from the other children. So the children made a little job, but I play the organ, and for the concert is, I think, 400 or 500 children. Imagine. Oh, it's a lot of children with me.
Right.
Yes, my organ class in Geneva is complete. I have 17 students.
Good future.
Yeah,
good future.
The children. And I explained with I spoke about this with my colleague in Bern, in the Deutsche Switzerland.
Yes.
Mark Fitze, he has 18, nice. 11. We have the biggest organ class in Switzerland.
I see.
But we work every year.
Yes.
From school. And I made, I think, 5 or 6 visits of the Victoria Hall for the high school.
Yes.
We need explain the organ. We need we need to bring people to the organ.
Yes.
I mean, here the problem is that Argentina is very far for me.
Yes.
Very far.
But of course you have local contacts, right? You have local friends there, right? Who can in a way help you manage the work, right? And sometimes even collaborate with you, probably, right? Those four organ students in Buenos Aires Conservatory, they can be part of your team, right?
Yeah. I think the next years I have planned for change this, and perhaps to formate people for the visit from the organ in the Centro Cultural. Perhaps I made a stage this year for formate this. Preparate this young organist to explain the organ about the young people, I think. But this is a plan for this year.
Good.
It's a good idea. I will write to the director from the Central Cultural for all this information.
I know, Diego, that you have to run, right? And we're short of time, although we have so many ideas to share still.
Yes,
but people around
ideas.
people around the world are so grateful for you, for your generosity. Thank you so much, and keep continuing spreading the love for the pipe organ and igniting the love in other people's heart in Geneva and in Argentina as well. Thank you so much. If you are curious about Diego's work, make sure you visit his website at diegoinnocenzi.com, www.diegoinnocenzi.com. You will find a lot of information and good stuff there, including videos, photos, and CDs.
Thank you, Vilas.
All right, let's keep in touch and stay in good health. If you liked this conversation, I encourage you to visit my blog, Secrets of Organ Playing, at organduo.lt, where you will find lots of insights, practical advice, and training for every area of organ playing. You can subscribe to this blog for free to get your daily dose of inspiration and to be the first to know when any of my future podcasts roll out. I hope to help you reach your dreams in organ playing. I'm Vidas Pinkevičius. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you online really soon.